and that is in Matthew chapter 6. Please, I would like us to get Matthew chapter 6, and I will interpret it after now. Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Get to Matthew chapter 6, and let's get to verse 34. Matthew chapter 6, verse 34. Therefore, do not worry about tomorrow, for tomorrow will worry about itself. Each day has enough trouble of its own. Another saying of Christ. Please, and I begin to feel that there are a few things God wants to say. I don't know how long, I think it will be short. But if you pay attention, I'll be able to say them as quickly as I can. He said, for each day has enough trouble of its own. There is a way the Lord designed that we manage problems. As long as we are on this earth, this fallen earth, challenges come. It is unavoidable. Challenges come. In fact, they say that every solution creates another challenge. And go and think of it. It has some good element of truth. Every solution to a challenge creates another challenge. The reason is not because troubles don't end. It's because there is always the pro and the con of everything that we do. When you solve a problem, for example, those of us in building, we discovered that if you finish building a house, you now discover that there is problem of flood where you never bothered before about flood, and you start managing the runoff water of the building, for just example. And as you begin to manage the runoff water of the building, you discover that you now need to check for where the gutter should go to, and you begin to manage that. You may put it where a neighbor will now come and say, no, I don't like it here. So one solved solution creates the next one. If you, even the house, by the time you finish building a house, then you're going to be preparing your mind that from time to time you will maintain it. That solution to your housing problem has created a maintenance problem. It is expected of a Christian to know that we are problem solvers. That's one of the first things I want to let you know. A believer is a problem solver. We create minimal troubles, but we solve maximum problems. There was an award, is it an award or a study that was done in the United States some years back. They were studying the life of families. There were two families they brought up. I think they brought up the family of, I think it was Billy Graham and his generation 100 years. That is before from his own dynasty or his own generation backwards. And they studied another man. I don't know. I will find out how I forgot those names. When they finished, America released a record that the family of Billy Graham has not cost the nation any wealth since the past, I think it's 200 years. While the family of the other man had cost the country so much. The simple reason is because believers are not troublemakers. They are not creators of problems. They are answers to questions, solutions to problems. When the Bible says Jesus was going about doing good, that is the life of the believer. Actually, the meaning of that statement, we understand it from different perspectives. The meaning of he was going about doing good was that he was actually through his life solving problems. Every good believer takes a challenge from everything he sees. The believer just notices that this is not how this thing should be and begin to think on how to solve it. In fact, the believer is not anything can happen person. When you see a back-homing person, his Christianity is not strong. When you see a man who is back-homing, his children can be staying and he doesn't care. His family could be spoiled and his really doesn't bother him. If he's in an institution, the institution may be dying and he doesn't really bother. Things are happening in the negative, it doesn't bother him. You doubt whether his Christianity is solid. The believer is a problem solver. Some are his own problems, some are other people's problems. But the believer has this grace inside to solve problems. I don't know, I want to attribute him to something. I want to get an idea of how the believer behaves. The believer behaves almost like the fire. If you put the fire in a dry forest, doesn't know the boundary. Just wants to solve it. Just keep solving the bush. Just keeps going, solving the bush and going. You're wondering, my grandmother was a funny woman. My grandmother was such a farmer. My grandmother farmed until she made all of us farmers. I may not explain all of it to you. My grandfather and my grandmother were such farmers that when I just came out of secondary school, I got an SHG title. Every male in my family, from myself to my twin brother backwards, everybody is an SHG. Myself, my twin, my uncles, the three of them, all of us. My grandmother was a farmer, Jesus Christ. And my grandfather works too. We were such workers. We were almost dying in the farm. My grandmother farmed to the point where if she was coming back from the market square, she might park her bicycle. She was riding a bicycle and entered the bush to check her farm. And from there, check the next farm and check the next farm, including other people's own, until she came back home and forgot her bicycle. I remember that sometimes, but the moment you see the next bicycle near the farm and you check for her, she was not around, the best thing to do was take it back. Because she will not come back the way she went. Her slippers and bicycle is a sign that she has gone inside. Because she will drop her bicycle, drop her slippers, and go into the bush. And from there, it's from one farm to the other. My grandmother had this internal drive into farm. I also once told you the story they wrote on one magazine about a gynecologist on the streets of Lagos. I told you that story once or twice. On the streets of Lagos, who was caught in a traffic, and beside him was a woman who was in labor, and the consultant gynecologist could no longer stay in his own vehicle. They were trying to, take the woman, hold her, prepare her for delivery. She was crying and shouting. They were near his car. He said he didn't know when he locked up his own car in the center of the road on the traffic, abandoned it there and chopped into this other one, and began to walk on the loop, began to walk on the stomach, on the abdomen, until they drove off with him because they asked him, "You have opened and jumped in." I was looking at the woman and told her, "I'm sorry, I'm Dr. So, a gynecologist, just keep moving." He forgot his own car was on the road. And until they drove him to the hospital, he was able to manage the woman into where she could deliver her baby. And then he remembered that his own car, he left it somewhere very far away. Now, that is the kind, those ones are professionals. That is the way the profession makes you want to look into what does not concern you. Sometimes you become a busybody. Teachers are like that sometimes. And such teachers could be causing trouble in their schools, not because they wanted to. They saw that the person in primary 6 was teaching something lower than primary 4. And herself from primary 4 didn't know when she jumped into primary 5. To say, but this is not the correct thing you are saying. Can you say the other one? Now, it causes problems sometimes too. But I'm trying to use it to say that there are people who, by development of their profession, they have become embedded in their jobs. The believer, by his salvation, is a problem solver. In fact, the believer attacks problems. The believer wishes he could attack more. He wishes he could solve more. Now, but I want to show us from Jesus' statement how the believer succeeds in solving challenges, both his own and another person's own. Whether the problem is the believer's own or anybody's own, there is something the Bible teaches us about solving them. Whether the believer is solving his own problem or solving the next person's problem, there is something the Bible teaches us about them. And that's what I read for you now. It says, do not worry for tomorrow. The first way to solve problems is to realize that there is a today and there is a tomorrow. Let me repeat that. There is a today and there is a tomorrow. Let me go to my grandmother again. As when my grandmother was working, she was a very great farmer. My grandmother would ask us to come to farm, and the farm may be very large expanse of field. When we got there, because we were young, we got discouraged because the field was too large for 4 of us or 3 of us to start. And she will bend one end and start. The next day, the way she spoke about the farm surprised me. Told my uncle, my dad was there then, to release us to go and help her to complete the little thing left in the farm. She was always using the language of the Igbo person, Oforme, you know that kind of language. You know, Oforme. We protested my uncle. I said, no, the farm, we have not even scratched it. How can she be talking about Oforme? You know, and she explained it. She said, no, that if you look at it from that point, you will never do it. But if you face it and do the little you can today, and do the little you can tomorrow, and do the little you can the next day, that before you know it, you have finished it. My grandmother was never afraid of farm. It can be as big as a football field. She can go there to weed it alone. Her thinking was, I will finish it one day. She will bend on one end and begin the work. I want to tell you that there is a tomorrow. The moment you develop the mentality of there is a tomorrow, you will be able to solve certain problems. So Jesus started teaching us that. He said, bear in mind, there is a day called tomorrow. Everything does not end today. If you realize that there's another day coming, you will not be in a hurry to make sure you accomplish everything in 1 hour. Sometimes it is that 1 hour effort to accomplish everything that spoils the business. Why? If the race is not a dash, but a marathon, and you start with a dash, you will get tired on the way. Check those who run marathon. If the race is not a dash, but it's a marathon, and you approach the race with a dash strength, you will miss the race. So what did you do? Remember, I said number 1, what Jesus was teaching, there is a tomorrow. Always tell yourself, I have an advantage of tomorrow. And you know, somebody will say, I mean I die today. Better. You know why? The problem is no longer your problem. It's no longer your problem. In fact, you won't know there's a problem. Many of us here won't know there's a problem. The moment you close your eyes, many of you here will not know there's a problem. You know why? You will keep singing. You will keep singing and going. It will be glory land. The day my mother told me how she saw eternity, I don't forget that. My mother fell into coma and stayed for quite some time. And she said she was going down, and the street was beautifully lighted and golden. And things ahead were inviting her. And she was going and going and going. But it was one of my cousins, Ijoma, my uncle's child, that began to call her. He said Ijoma was following her. Ijoma was very little then. Ijoma was following her and was calling her. She was confused, leaving this child behind to go and get what the gold she was working on and seeing ahead, and then coming back to this child. So she said the child she should go back so that she could continue the journey. The girl kept crying. He said as soon as she turned back to carry the girl, that was the end of the coma. She woke up. She regretted this thing. He said, what kind of thing is this? That this girl has denied her something. And I said, the girl called you back to life, possibly. Maybe whether you were just finally going. Now, if I remember her story, I discovered that death is not frightening. To the undead, death is frightening. But the believer, So if anything you're no longer that is the tomorrow of the problem, it's alright. You already entered Amor Levi. When you enter Amor Levi, what is your problem? You don't have any problem. Bible said there will be no night there. All tears shall be wiped away. So there's a problem, it's no longer a problem. But if there is a tomorrow waiting, see, if unbelievers tell their stories about death, don't let them frighten you. The experience of the unbeliever in death and the experience of the believer in death are not the same. I took my time to read near-death experiences. I think I read about 10 near-death experiences. And each of them showed that for the believer, from the close of eye to be welcome in the kingdom is glorious, beautiful, and enjoyable. Maybe for the unbeliever, the way they talk about their own, the fright of death, the fear of what will happen, that if they die, they will pass through the dismal floor, they will be going through the dark alley and the dark valley. Well, that is because of their own choice. They have chosen that path. So don't be afraid of that. Don't ever let anybody frighten you with who knows how it will be after death. I know how it will be. It is glorious. Now, having left that by the side, I'm saying I know because I have had those who say they had near-death experiences, except if they were lying. Then I want to ask, if we are going to heaven, why should God frighten us on the way to heaven? If we are going to heaven at all, why should God frighten us before we get there? Why should we be running away from the road to heaven? I don't think that's the way it's supposed to be. However, I want to get back to my message. That if you remember that it's a tomorrow, then do all your best for today and allow the rest for the next day. When you have gotten up in the day and written out your list, I do that a lot. To do lists. I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do this, I'll do that, I'll do that, I'll do that. When I saw my clock, when I checked my clock today, I discovered that I had things, if I wanted to meet them all, I would not meet up with this fellowship. I abandoned some and started coming back because I have done what I can do for the day. It could be by mistakes too. You could be going to a place and you go through the longer route. And by the time you come back from that route, you join into a traffic. By the time you come out of the traffic, you can no longer meet up. It is still the way the day is. And people say that some days are like that. Some days are like that. It could also be a mistake you made. They say it's over here. I don't understand what that means. But you have brought something somewhere. Or you have pocketed your key and you are looking for it for 1 hour. And it's in your pocket. And you look for it until your day is half spent. Then you find it and you want to start your to-do list. You have lost time. It's alright. That was how that day came. I will tell you that Jesus was teaching us how to solve problems without hurting your heart. Let me repeat. I think I have said it here before. Let me repeat. The most precious part of the believer is his heart. The most important part of a Christian is his heart. And one of the things you will do everything to protect on a daily basis is your heart. Is your heart. And because you want to protect your heart, care needs to be taken, not to overflow certain matters. Now, Jesus said, number one, I said there is a tomorrow. Number two, problems are apportioned on daily basis. Problems come in doses. Please, may God help you to understand. Challenges, rather, I think it's a better word. Challenges come in doses. Even if they come in packets, take the dose enough for the day. Even if the challenges come in carton and they come in bundles, even if the tipper offloaded the challenge, collect what is handleable in the day and decide that this is enough. Don't let it be a lazy approach. Let it be a sincere attack. But what can be done? When we get some jobs, they ask us to write what we call job schedule. Job schedule gives us when can we finish this job, we say. Then what are the weekly targets of each job, plus what they call the floating time. The floating time is the time that you may give extra. For example, if a phase of job will take 1 week, That is, we count in days often. If a phase of job will, when there are very big projects, we count in months. If a phase of job will take us 6 days, we could decide to add 2 days floating time in case there is any force majeure or anything that happened and we didn't finish. And we plan ourselves like that. Then there are jobs that can go together concurrently. There are ones that cannot go together. One must finish one. Now, when you know those things like that, you key them into and for you and promise the owner of the job that you will start on Monday and finish on Tuesday. You know it is not possible. So what do you target? You target what you can finish on Monday. Target what you can finish on Tuesday. Target what you can finish on Wednesday. And write your job plan. The same thing with students. The reason why many students find it difficult to read is this bulk reading, bulk study. Students don't break down their studies. I was asking some of our daughters and sons that why won't you complete your curriculum for this, for the next session through this period you are idle in the house? Why won't you find a way of disciplining yourself to cover this curriculum? So that when the teacher begins to talk in class, when the strike is over, it will just be like revision for you. Do you know that even though it's a very disturbing time, it could be used to a very great advantage by students? Somebody said, if there is no school, reading is difficult. That is true, but that's a fault. It's true, but it's a fault. Because there are many other readings you will be doing after school. And if you have developed the attitude of either you are in school compound or you are not reading, you will find it difficult to be an academia. Most academia don't have school compound to stay before they read. You don't need to go back to school to become a professor. You don't need to. By the way, in those days our parents were doing what they called Cambridge. Which school were they attending? No school. It's Cambridge University in Britain. They stay in Nigeria and complete the course and get degree. Some of them got A-level, some of them got O-level, some of them got certificates and are very strong at home. And I was telling our students that think Cambridge, think seminar. If you graduate and you want to be writing papers, writing seminars, looking for scholarships, trying to enter into one category or the other, you will need to work from home. Unfortunately, our students wait until school resumes. But if you decide to look at your academics and break them into little chips, achievable goals, I can get this done. After that, I can also get this done. After that, I can get this done. Achievable goals. If a believer decides to go that way, or if a student, rather, I'm dealing with students now, decides to go that way, he could make a lot of impact in his life. But most of our students read not for knowledge, but for exam. That's one of the poorest things anybody can do. Most of our students are not pursuing knowledge, they are pursuing exam. So if you tell a second-year student studying economics to start reading, he will ask you, they didn't give us any curriculum. Must you get the curriculum? If you just go into the Google and ask second-year economics curriculum, they will give you what to read. Topics will come out, assignments will come out. And those knowledge are wonderful knowledge. You will get very vast. Even those of you who have admission, you can Google into your course today and begin to chip out little by little. We are praying God that this thing will end soon. That's why what they are saying. We are praying God that this strike will end very soon. And we believe that He should hear us. I don't know why He has not yet answered us, but I think He will answer us. Now, until He does, you can decide to chip off your problems little by little. Now, but Jesus said, generally, whether in the academics, or family issues, or finance issues, or health challenges, or relationship challenges, or whatsoever, He said, sufficient for the day is the trouble allocated for that day. So that was why I said number one, that He said tomorrow. Then number two, try to do in a day what is optimally possible for that day. Don't let matters, challenges compound themselves over you. In fact, I realized from the Bible that the way to solve problems is to elementize them. When they come as a compound, you know what Bible says about them? It says they will come in one way. What they really do, they will scatter them. That's elementizing them. They will scatter in 7 ways. They can come as a group. It's your duty to settle down and say, which one is the most urgent? What can we do now that is most important? What do we handle? See, I was talking to the husband a few days ago. The wife called me and said, the doctor gave them an appointment. Actually, there's a health challenge in the family. And doctor gave an appointment. And when she was asking the husband, let's go and see the doctor. The husband said there is no money. He said, oh, you don't have money. He said, yes. The only money we have here, I want to use it to buy television. I said, what? You want to buy television? He said, yes. I said, over our health challenge. He said, well, before this health problem came, he already planned. I don't want to miss that target now. Because after she talked, when I talked to the man, I said, he said, look at your priorities. You know what he answered me? He said that my wife likes watching things, and I want her to be watching. I said, it's all right. But is it more important than her health? Even though he's a nice brother, he listened. I just concluded, I just thought about it in my mind. I said, is it possible that many of us don't put priorities in their proper positions like that? It is possible. The problems we solve sometimes are actually tomorrow's problem, when today's own has not been handled. We tend to be worried about Friday. We have not even entered Wednesday. And it begins to hinder us from being very effective. One attitude you must find in an effective person is to know what is urgent and what is important. Any effective person knows this thing is more urgent than the other one, and it is more important, and I better focus on it now. What of the other one? I will deal with it later on. We got a construction project some time ago, and the owner, by the day after we agreed and he paid his first deposit for us to start foundation, he called me one of the afternoons when I was inside the foundation, dirty and managing to check what was going on. He called me and said, what kind of paint will we use for that house? I said, paint now. He said, I like talking about everything. I said, brother, please, I'm inside the foundation. We will get to the paint. He said, when you're thinking about paint, think about sockaway also. I said, foundation, we're thinking about paint, thinking about sockaway. He said, and I will also tell you when we talk in the evening, the kind of window I would like. I said, Jesus Christ. I said, it's all right. In the evening, he left me that day. I thought he had left it in the evening. He called me. I had got my window. Can you take a pen and write? I told him, where will I write this thing and keep it until when we get to that point, I will not lose it. Write whatever you like, keep it to yourself. Let's get out of the foundation first. You know, I thought I had conquered that matter. He left it that day. The next time he called me 3 days after, it was ceiling we were discussing. And you know, nobody was sounding somehow. Ceiling, we were discussing. I said, ceiling. What kind of ceiling? He said, how do you see POP? I said, POP is a good ceiling. Can I continue working? He said, no, whenever I call you for phone, let's talk. They're not ready to talk. I talk, let's talk. I said, okay, let's talk. I dropped what I was doing. What he was discussing, we are nowhere near those things. You know how he explained it? He said he liked thinking ahead. I said, yes. You may have all the time in the world to relax on an easy chair and think ahead. I don't have that kind of time. I am still struggling with rods to make sure that this house does not collapse. You are dealing with ceiling. You know, why I'm saying that is that I want to use that my funny friend to bring up to how some of us think. And it is because we bring forward. Is it bring forward now? No, we draw backwards. What will happen next month to today? that it looks like we are overburdened. How did Jesus teach it? He said, as for today, what are the troubles of today? Focus on them. What are the troubles of today? Focus on them. What are the things, if they are not handled today, they are next by tomorrow? What are the matters, if they are not dealt with today, tomorrow may be a bit difficult to manage? What are the things you can chip off? How much can you bite so that you can chew and be able to manage today? How much? How many things can you handle? And today is sorted out. He said, sufficient for the day. Let me also come back to explain before my time is up that every day has its own trouble. I will change trouble to challenge. Every day has its own challenge. You may be handling a particular challenge, and another more urgent and more pressing one rises up. You are expected, heaven expects you to drop the previous one you were handling and accomplish this one. Some of them are life-threatening. You must drop the previous challenge. Settle this and let's move on. I was counseling with a brother not long ago who told me to help him look out for that he wanted to build a house. I said, a house? He said, yes. I said, that's not the right time. He said, come and check. I said, that's not the right time. He said, how? Ask him, your children are in the university and they are struggling with school fees. They just paid and they are still owing certain debts. And you want to start a house. How much money came in? He said, this is exactly why he wants me to come and start. That only 300,000 around now, he wants to use it to just start. He said, assuming they come back and demand something, what would you do? He said, they will not. They will not. You know, they will not come back. I said, it's all right. So we scheduled the day I was going. The day I was going, he came. I called him on the phone. I'm supposed to come and check your site so you can collect the money and start your work. So, my brother, it's like you are right. Two of them came 2 days ago. And I've taken 200 out of that 300. I said, I told you to give them. Assuming I had come the day, actually the day we planned, you would have spent this money. What would you have done with your children? He said, you are right. It's good to have friends who advise people well. I said, I don't want to be advising you well every day. I want you to reason your own self. Before you jump into tomorrow's matter, some of you don't want to live in a tenant's house. When you hear the way we talk as though building houses is easy. If I'm able to build an owner's land, I'll stop paying house rent. Brother, be grateful to those who build houses where you live. I am telling you, if anybody has built a house and rented to you, bless the Lord, thank the person, and live there with joy. Because to build a house, people are buying cement now. To build a house. Did you know I was checking the cost of one toilet? The washhand basin, the toilet seater, the tile, and the shower. That alone covered 1 month house rent. In fact, about 3 months house rent. When you are paying 10,000 per month in a house. The toilet seater, it is 24,000. I mean, one toilet. Oh. Rakebe said it's up to something thousand now. 45. 45,000. Then you are going to pay 1 month. 1 month is 10,000. You will need 4.5 months to buy toilet. Then 1 other month to buy wash and basin. Then another month to buy shower. So in 1 year, by the time you buy that toilet, 1 year house rent has gone. Now, if the Lord blesses you with what the outside man calls plenty money, if plenty money just arrives, I mean, I prefer you build a house. Amen? Amen. But until plenty money comes, thank God for the landlord. Be happy to pay him the money and pay him the job. Pay him dancing, thanking God that somebody built. Because if nobody built, you were told to build. You might need to actually make a tarpaulin and pack it for now, the way things are for now. That truth you must tell yourself. This is pretending that some people say that I want to finish my own house so that I can go out, I can leave their house for them, and I told somebody, my brother, if you can build, don't only build for yourself, build and build for tenants. But if you can't build, happily pay house rent and leave tomorrow's trouble for tomorrow. Now, why am I interested in this? We go and download problems that are not necessary. When we download them, then we have heavy hearts. And we can't sleep in peace. Why? Because we are downloading problems on MP5. And they are playing on MP6. You don't know how to manage again. You are the person that pressed download. And all the troubles that are meant for next month, downloaded to today. Now, what do? Let every day bring its own challenge. Face that challenge and sort it out. Jesus said that's how to live a Christian life. Let every day bring its challenge. When you wake up after praying, just go out, trusting the Lord that today, I don't know what I'm going to see. Whatever I see, I face it on its own merit. And I try to solve it on its own merit. Do your best. Put in all your effort. But put that effort in the most pressing matters. Put those efforts in today's matter. And relieve yourself of worry about tomorrow. Now, if you are worried that troubles will continue tomorrow, I can give you an answer. Solutions are coming tomorrow. It's not only trouble that will come. As the day is breaking and the trouble wants to come, the solution will follow it and come. So why worry about it? Some things that kill men never happen. I'm telling you, some things that men die because they are afraid it will happen. They never happen. Some others would have been solved if they had waited. If you look at the way Judas killed himself, you are asking how Peter was forgiven. Peter waited a little more and came to the point where Jesus asked him, "Do you love me more than all of this? Feed my lamb." Case closed. But wait, because Peter wept, but Judas couldn't wait for that time. Bible says he went and hung himself. Remember that my message I preached some time ago? Do not kill yourself. Go and change that message. I don't know whether that is has it. Don't kill yourself. Don't be another Judas that kills himself. Even if you have made your mistakes and things look like they are now turning around over your head, don't kill yourself. Focus on it. What do we do? How do we handle it? If you are fortunate people around you and talk to them, how do we handle it? Is there anything I can do? To bring another one that may sound funny. But it is true. If you discover that there is something you can do today about the problem, except looking at the problem, looking at it is part of the solution. I'm telling you. Did I not teach you about the sheep? The sheep that had the leopard. Is it leopard? Which one is Odun? The tiger, Yes. No, the tiger is the arrow. The Odun is the lion, whichever one. He had managed to get the Odun, and he was carrying the Odun's meat and going on sheep to cook. So the arrow saw the Odun that the sheep was carrying. Because of the arrow-Odun relationship, the arrow ran. They realized it was sheep that was carrying it. He came back from a distance and asked sheep, this Odun, hey, how did you kill it? How could you sheep kill and carry Odun to go and cook at it? Sheep said, is it because I allowed you to be killing me? There is power in my eyes. Odun was coming, and I watched it and watched it and watched it and watched it, and it fell and died. And I carried it. Abu said, it means your eye is that powerful. The race started, he ran again. Why? They claim in Igbo that is why the arrow will always come upon animals from their back. You are after pursuing them, jump on them and cover their face before he eats them. Those things are biological. But at least it's wanted to show us that the sheep said in Igbo, I want to inform you, there are problems that will solve as you are hoping at them. I'm telling you, there are problems that will be solved because you are moping at them, and for the believer, praying about them. There are things you can't solve. You want to solve it, but you can't solve it. You are looking at it. You don't know what to do. Do I tell you to go and kill yourself? No. What do? You keep moping at it. Mope at it because it's too difficult for your hands to reach and solve. Mope at it. Don't deny the problem. The problem is there. Mope at it. Pray about it. And keep watching it. I have seen solutions like that several times. Am I claiming it's easy? I'm not claiming it's easy. I'm introducing a difficult course for you. A course that makes you see your problem and mope at it. It's not an easy one. It is easier to go higher blood pressure than to mope. It's usually easier. So we run towards the HDP area than towards. You see, okay, whether you have HDP or you don't have, you can still do nothing about that problem. I was dancing in the car this afternoon. Just dancing in the car. The brother called me and said, "My runaway son has come back." I said, "What?" He said, "My son, I told you were praying with me. My son that ran away for the past 1 year has come back to the house. He has touched almost every part of this country and discovered that east, west, home is best." I hope you know that one. East, west, home is best. And he said he now stays at home more than before. When he had not tasted these things, he was finding it difficult to accept to start home every day. Say for 2 weeks, this boy has not gone anywhere. He just came back and sat down in the house and said, "Praise God." You mean that this thing that almost gave you high blood pressure, this thing that nearly sent you to grave, has not been solved like that? He said there is nothing he didn't do. He contacted SSS. He contacted police. He wanted to arrest all his friends who were misleading him. He contacted this person. At a point, he got the military into it. He was talking to anybody who could listen, trying to see whether they could get the boy, tie him with a rope, and brought him back home. I had told him then, if you tie him with a rope on Monday, you will need to hold him with a rope on Tuesday, and possibly a chain on Wednesday. Then you may need a handcuff on Thursday. Then before Friday, you may need a prison room for him. How long will you do that? Leave him, mope at him, pray about it. Leave him. One day you will see him back. You know my joy, this is the second runaway boy I have been praying about that came back in the past 2 weeks. The second one, within this August alone, 2 of them that ran away from their homes for 1 year. Each of them, they don't know themselves, so from different families, and they all came here for prayer. 2 of them have come back. Why? And see, this part you can manage. You cannot follow him there. You cannot arrest him in police. You cannot do anything than pray and watch. See, when you can chip out a problem, solve it. But if you put your hands on the firewood and the thing is too hard, they call it ironwood. You try. When it is 6 o'clock in the evening, you bless the Lord, you go to sleep. The next morning you come again. See, listen, if we follow Jesus' method, we can solve more challenges than we are doing now, and we can solve them with less stress than we are doing now. Jesus' method is to know that it's a tomorrow. Don't die for things today. You pursued it today, you didn't get it. It's all right. That is a tomorrow. That is a tomorrow. If you let it be, but put your best, the other side of it, the flip side is the side of laziness. I'm tired. I have tried. When you put in your best and it has not come out to what you want, you wait. Trust in the Lord that tomorrow again you will start. chipping out a little every day, chipping out a portion every time, and following them gradually, following things little by little. Sufficient for the day is the trouble thereof. Could you please check whether what is bothering you today can wait till tomorrow? Could you check whether what is killing you on Thursday is a Monday problem? Manage to push Monday problem to Monday and focus on Saturday, focus on Friday. Mommy once asked me, when are we paying another school fees? I said, Madam, there is no money now, and it's not yet time, so there is no problem. Said, how long do we have? I said, I have checked. We don't have time, and we don't have money. So let's wait for that day where the problem will come. For now, there is no trouble. Sleep, rest. For I believe that before the day of the problem, its solution would have come. So why don't you just let yourself have rest? I understand it's the human nature to try to plan. It is not bad. I think Christians mix a lot of things up. It is not bad at all to plan. How is it bad? It's very good to plan. It's very good to project. But let projection remain in the projection arena. And don't let your heart project with the projection, so that you can have your peace of mind. You have projected that, yes, by this time, good is a good projection. Please, don't ever write on the topic of projection reality. Don't. Because by the time the projection fails, if it fails, you will think that the reality failed. Notice that what failed was your projection. By the end of 2022, you should have concluded sealing this house or your house. Good projection, but it's a projection. By the time you were seeing this, there was not much money in your pocket. If there was money, why don't you seal it that day? So there was not much money. So relax and keep working towards that goal, putting in your best, making your effort. Good plan. But as you keep seeing that other things are coming up that are more important, you keep doing them while watching on the ceiling. Keep doing them. Keep doing them. If you discover that the ceiling money came, seal it up. If it didn't come, postpone the ceiling to tomorrow, to next year. And actually start with it next year as project number 1, ceiling. It may fail again. I'm being very realistic with you. You move it again to the other year. The only thing is don't cancel it. It must be sealed one day. Don't cancel it, but move it to the next year. And move it to the next year. And move it to the next year. Then whenever you finish, it helped me when I was building the house. I never put anything in the house. Ask mommy, we never put anything in that house in a hurry. Nothing. Why? I didn't have the money. And where I was not driving me. If you are driving me, I will look for another one and stay. And I was happy my landlord was getting money from me. After all, he prayed to God to bring tenants who will pay him money. And I was an answer to prayer. That was okay. So every month I paid him. Every year I paid him. Every year I paid him. When I paid him, and so I had extra 10,000, I put one ball. Then I paid him again, and had extra 5,000, I put one tire. Then I paid him again. When I saw that I could continue, when I couldn't continue, I stopped. And continued paying my landlord with job. When I said I could continue again, I continued. And now I can say that we're living in the house. I can't remember how much we spent. There was no budget. There was no account. There was not. It could be that I went somewhere and somebody was supplying maybe a site I was working, a trip of sand. And I discovered I had extra money for one trip. I said, hey, drop one trip in my own site also. And I will leave it there. See, when you learn to live your life in a cool manner, in an easy way, how does that happen? Sufficient for every day is the trouble. If it is possible from tomorrow, when you get up, write down the troubles of that day, the ones you can see. And tell yourself, enough. These are things, if I don't do them today, things may spoil. What of your hairtie? Hairtie is not today's problem. It can come tomorrow. So what of your sandals? Sandals. Where am I going with it? You are going to meet in September. September what? 25th. I can buy it on 25th morning. I can use it. Leave it for now. Let's move on. What is the next thing? By the time you elementize things like that, make everything elementary and simple, you will have a calmer heart, a more relaxed mind, and an unmoved personality. But if you are interested in everything must be done today, everything must be done tomorrow, who knows, we will die by the next day. My wife said, the child was asking, is it her or the mother? If we die, what do we do? Is it what I'm asking? If we die, what shall we do? What did he say? If we die, what shall we do? Is it not better you wait until you die now? Why bother killing yourself now for what will happen after death? Brethren, Jesus said, every day has its own problem. Discover it, focus on it, and give your heart peace of mind. Listen, nothing will stop you from eternity. Nothing will hinder you going to heaven. And don't let matters that keep cropping up and down on this earth, matters that keep cropping up and down, don't let them hinder your aspiration for eternity. Don't. Because sufficient for every day is the challenge of that day. Elementize the problems. Solve them on daily basis. And have a peace of mind. Let us pray. Dear Father, we thank you. This truth is another reality that should help our hearts. But help us to elementize the matters and challenges that come to us. Help us by elementization to solve them. We trust that we shall be receiving a lot of help from you, even as we focus on things that we must do and do them. Glorify your name. In Jesus' mighty name we have prayed.
Amen.
Child of brethren,
the word is working.
The word is working.